Good morning. I'm Pauline Verzosa, sitting in for Gretchen Ho. It is Tuesday, the 11th of March, and we're bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. And here are the stories that matter today. The Philippine National Police denies reports of a major operation to arrest former President Rodrigo Duterte. However, the PNP says it will comply if Interpol calls for action. Vice President Sara Duterte says she will not endorse any senatorial candidate, citing a past experience where she felt deceived. But Palace Press Officer Claire Castro dismissed her claim and suggested that the situation may have been the other way around. Is Tanimbala making a comeback at NAIA? A recent bullet planting incident has raised alarm, leading President Bongbong Marcos to call for a thorough investigation. And Pagasa reports that approximately 19 typhoons are expected to enter the Philippine area of responsibility this 2025. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, the Vatican says Pope Francis's condition continues to show improvement, prompting doctors to lift their guarded prognosis. And now let's get more details on that from Morning Matters host Gretchen Ho, who still joins us live from Rome. Hi, Gretchen. Another good news to start our day. Tell us more about that.
Good morning, Pauline, and a happy Tuesday still from Rome. Amid the busy week, I have some piece of advice. Don't forget to turn on your video in online meetings because Pope Francis did not forget. That's right. From audio to video, Pope Francis made his presence felt by turning on his camera and joining his cardinals in an annual Lenten recollection inside the Vatican. And more good news for you. In the latest medical bulletin released just a few hours ago, the Pope is now out of imminent danger in his 25th day in the hospital.
It was February 22, 8 days after he had been admitted, when the Vatican first pronounced that Pope Francis' prognosis remains guarded, declaring the pontiff was in critical condition as he had an asthma-like respiratory crisis requiring high-flow oxygen. February 28, when he had a sudden worsening of his condition due to an isolated episode of bronchospasm, causing him to breathe through vomit as he began non-mechanical ventilation. And March 3, when he last suffered 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure due to an accumulation of mucus and bronchospasm. 3 major and critical events in his hospitalization since February 14, when he was admitted for bronchitis that later was diagnosed to be double pneumonia. Now Pope Francis is on his 4th week, and doctors say they are finally lifting the guarded prognosis, meaning he's not anymore in imminent danger, but will keep the Pope in the hospital for the next days. The clinical picture remains to be complex, and the 88-year-old pontiff will continue to receive medication for the severe infection. The road to recovery is likely to be long and fraught with danger, though. That's what medical experts are saying in a Reuters report. When he does get out from the hospital, there are questions over whether the Pope will regain his former strength. It's a race against time against the loss of muscle structure, says Professor Christoph Lang, Secretary General of the International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease. The Vatican has said the Pope has been getting respiratory therapy to improve his lung function and physical therapy for movement, but it's still unclear on whether he can do more than work in his armchair if the Pope can already walk or stand unaided. The respiratory attacks in his longest hospital stay yet could also have put a strain on his 88-year-old heart. While a full 100% recovery may be far off, the latest developments are still very encouraging, with the Pope slowly rejoining his Roman Curia cardinals in their Lenten activities, making himself felt not just through words, but through video. In this day and age, that counts for a lot. Pope Francis continues to show that a lot is possible even from the confines of his hospital room.
Oh, that's the good news we're bringing to you on this Tuesday morning, just fresh off the oven. The Pope out of imminent danger, improving in his condition, responding to medication. Hopefully, he will be out of the Gemelli Hospital very, very soon. But for now, he remains to be in therapy, still taking meds, still being taken care of by his doctors and given important care inside Gemelli, and we also received the news that he will be missing some activities in the next weeks to come. But that's quite understandable. The Pope does try to join the activities in his own ways by doing video conferencing, sending video message, sending his homilies and angelus address to the Catholic faithful, even from his hospital room, saying that he can do a lot, even from the confines of the four walls of Gemelli. Pauline?
Well, you're right, Gretchen. We don't have an excuse anymore not to turn on our cameras and even our audios and video conferences, as the Pope has shown, right, battling double pneumonia and still getting back to work immediately. So right now, Gretch, wala pang balita kung kailan makakaalis si Pope sa Gemelli Hospital, tama ba?
Tama, wala pang balita, no? Sinabi lang dito na several days yung itatagal pa niya sa ospital. Although I think it is in response to questions from reporters if there is a timeline, if he will be able to come back now to Casa Santa Marta where he lives inside the Vatican. Pero yun nga yung sagot ng ospital, ano? At binabasa nga natin yung medical opinion ng iba't ibang doktor. Sinasabi nila matatagalan itong pagre-recover ni Pope Francis because of his age, because of his history with respiratory issues, because of the 3 major attacks he's gone through in the hospital that could have had an effect on his heart and also his comorbidities, kaya medyo naman maselan yung lagay. Yun nga, sana he recovers his full strength because that is what they are unsure of at this point. Sa reports ng Vatican, sinasabi na he continues to work from his armchair, but they're also not saying whether he is walking, standing up, being mobile. So a lot of questions when it comes to that. But pinaka-important naman, Pauline, yung pag-iisip, no? So pagdating sa pag-iisip, mukhang okay na okay pa naman si Pope Francis at talagang palaban.
And what's important here is that, as the Vatican mentioned, he's no longer in imminent danger, Gretchen. But what about the Catholic faithful there in Rome, as well as Filipinos? What's their reaction to all of this?
Things are slowly changing, Pauline. For example, the medical bulletins are coming out one day after the other, meaning every other day na lang siya lumalabas. Tapos yung rosary, dahil yung cardinals nga nandun sa loob ng Vatican ngayon para sa kanilang rent and recollection, ay piniplay nila sa isang screen sa labas ng St. Peter's Basilica, 6 p.m. Hindi na yung magkakasama lahat ng cardinals sa labas. So, dahan-dahan, scaling back a little bit, and hopefully, I do hope to see things get normal here and to be able to witness a sense of that. But like yesterday, it was reported, di ba, na medyo okay-okay na, kumakalma na yung mga tao. And I think there are still speculations over, for example, what's going to happen to the Pope in case he falters back again, falls in critical condition again. There are talks when it comes to that, but very, very political and under wraps na mga usapan, mga chismisan, ika nga, tungkol sa mga nangyayari. But we've been told that the atmosphere around here can get very political. So just like in any institution, the Vatican is also plagued with the same. Hindi naman spared yan, but everybody, I think, is getting a more sense of security with the developments day by day, and Pope Francis also making sure that people feel that there is not much space for gossip and speculation. So nagpakita na si Pope via video at malaking bagay yun, showing his face. We do hope that they do that for the public in order for us to see our beloved Pope once again.
Well, that's right, Gretchen. I definitely agree with that. But for now, thank you very much for all those updates from Rome, Italy. That was Morning Matters host Gretchen Ho. Now, in other news, is Tanim Bala back at NAIA? Well, a new bullet planting incident has sparked concerns, prompting President Bongbong Marcos to order a full investigation. Here's that report. The latest Tanim Bala or bullet planting incident at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport has gotten Malacanang's attention. Bala's press officer, Attorney Claire Castro, says the president has ordered a thorough investigation to the allegations.
Bala, saan dito bala? Oh, wala naman. Pakiano niyo po? Wait lang. Ano po? Rosary.
In a social media post that has gone viral, 69-year-old Ruth Adele said she and her family almost missed their flight after NAIA security claimed they have an X-ray image of an anting-anting or amulet in the form of a bullet casing inside their luggage. This came as they were about to board their flight to Vietnam last March 6.
Teka lang, ano pa? Ano?
That's too much po. That's too much.
That's too much. Mami, o baka ito. Pang-ano ko to sa ilong.
However, a physical inspection of the said bag did not yield any bullet casing.
Yes or no? So hindi nga po kami.
Yung last day ko lang kaming x-ray dito man para hindi namin ma-double check yung gamit ko. Empty shell, parang alam ko na, di ba ano naman yan talaga?
Kalakaran.
The personnel were also caught on video making fun of the situation.
So hindi nga kami.
This led the family to seek the help of Senator Raffy Tulfo in his Wanted sa radyo program.
Hindi sila nag-sorry, hindi nag-apologize.
Tinatanong na po namin sila. Bigla lang po silang tumalikod. Pero before that, nung sinabi po ng mother ko na susumbong ko kayo kay
Kay Sir Tulfo, sabi nung ganun. Ang Sir Rapi, sabi ko,
tumawa pa po.
Tulfo in turn pressed the Transportation Department to ask the NAIA personnel involved to issue an apology to the Adele family.
Again, sir, for the second time. So, kailangan po may apology letter na matanggap.
Opo, we will send the apology letter po formally from me and Undersecretary Bisnar.
Para maklaro sila kasi mali mo, baka mamaya kung wala apology letter in the future, pwede gamitin against them.
Tama po.
Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon has since fired 3 personnel from the Office of Transportation Security for this incident.
I hate to do this. Okay? Alam ko mahirap mawalan ng trabaho. Lalo na ngayon. Napakahirap ng buhay. Pero, sana po, we are sending a message loud and clear to everyone in government and everyone in the DOTR, everyone in the airport.
Oh, don't go away. We still have more stories coming up right after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Philippine National Police dismisses claims of a massive police operation to arrest former President Rodrigo Duterte. However, it says it will comply if Interpol calls for action.
The Department of Justice and the Philippine National Police confirmed they have not received any information regarding an ICC arrest warrant for former President Duterte for his controversial war on drugs. The PNP also denied reports that 7,000 police personnel were preparing to track down and arrest Duterte.
If there will be request for police assistance in implementing these warrants po, then the PNP is obligated to honor that obligation under the principle of reciprocity, sir.
For its part, the DOJ explained that cases handled through Interpol go through the National Central Bureau under the PNP, the National Bureau of Investigation, and the Bureau of Immigration. These agencies would be responsible for processing Duterte's arrest warrant if it is officially issued.
If ever there are instructions from the Interpol, and of course dahil nag-sign po tayo sa international agreement na yan, we are bound to oblige and to respect that.
Meantime, the ICC Office of the Prosecutor refused to issue a statement, emphasizing that confidentiality is crucial to protect their investigation, witnesses, and victims. Lawyer to drug war complainants Cristina Conti agrees to this.
Mas pabor ako na hindi mo na i-announce yung warrant. Kasi di ba pag ganito na matutunugan mo na o maririnig mo na, talagang may pagkakataong tumakas. Kaya yung diwa talaga ang esensya ay dapat confidential or secret. Yung request for or issuance ng warrant at yung execution.
Ang balita ko, may warrant daw ako. Yung sa ICC or something. Matagal na akong hinahabol ng mga Bakit ko ginawa yan? Para sa inyo at ang inyong mga anak sa aking bayan.
Earlier, Duterte said he is ready to face his fate if the ICC has indeed issued an arrest warrant against him. But he insists he only did what was necessary to ensure peace in the Philippines.
Bayan Muna Chairman Attorney Neri Colmenares believes former President Rodrigo Duterte has no intention of surrendering to the International Criminal Court. Colmenares noted that with Duterte currently in Hong Kong, he may consider seeking asylum in China as the ICC has no jurisdiction over their country. He also said that they have long urged Malacanang to file cases against Duterte to secure his custody or at least impose a whole departure order. Colmenares emphasized that justice must transcend political considerations, noting that victims' families have been waiting since 2017, yet accountability for the brutal killings during Duterte's administration remains elusive.
Para sa akin, Duterte will not surrender to the ICC. He will fight it out. Despite his bluster na, I'm ready to face the challenge. Yes, the bravado. So, and China is, of course, a friend to him. And because the ICC has no control over China, because China is not a state party, therefore, China may accede to his request to asylum if he will apply for asylum.
Meantime, Vice President Sara Duterte says that she will not endorse any senatorial candidate, saying she had been tricked before. She appeared to be referring to the 2022 national elections when she ran under the Uniteam Alliance alongside now President Bongbong Marcos. Duterte emphasized that she has learned her lesson and will no longer publicly support any candidate. She made the statement during a PDP Laban campaign sortie in Hong Kong, where she was accompanied by her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Sabi ko nga sa inyo, nadala na ako, na-scam na ako, nabudol na ako. Hindi ako mag-endorso ng kandidato. Kasi baka pagkatapos ng eleksyon, sasabihin nyo na naman, na-scam ba yung Inday Sara dahil sa iyo? Ang gagawin ko para sa inyo, sasabihin ko, ano ba ang kailangan nating gawin as voter?
For its part, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro dismissed Duterte's claim that she was tricked and questioned if it was the other way around. She also noted that no one abandoned the vice president, implying that it was Duterte herself who turned her back on the government.
Is it not the other way around? Hindi naman po siguro inakala din ng miyembro o ng mga miyembro ng unit team na mabilis magagastos ni VP Sara yung 125 million pesos na confidential funds in just 11 days. Yan na naman po ang nais naman nilang iparating. Maging kaawa-awa ang OVP, maging kaawa-awa ang Vice President. Wala pong nang iwan sa kanya, baka po siya po ang nang iwan sa gobyerno.
Now, in other news, the Philippines has slammed China's use of creative analogy and wordplay to shift attention away from its refusal to comply with international law in the South China Sea. The Department of Foreign Affairs issued a strongly worded statement rejecting Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's claim that Philippine actions in the disputed waters are a shadow play orchestrated by external forces. The agency emphasized that the Philippines is an independent and sovereign nation whose decisions are based solely on national interests and the well-being of Filipinos. The DFA also underscored that no amount of wordplay can change the fact that China continues to ignore international law, particularly the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and the 2016 Arbitral Award. The Department of Education is exploring the use of solar energy to power air conditioning in public schools. DepEd Secretary Sonny Angara pointed out that while classrooms in the past were not air-conditioned, the impact of climate change has made it necessary to adapt. The education chief noted that some schools are already using solar energy and have successfully powered air conditioning units, particularly in computer rooms. This has helped maintain a conducive learning environment and reduce the need for class suspensions due to excessive heat. And now for the weather, several areas in the country may experience rains today, Tuesday, due to the easterlies. In Aurora and Quezon, residents can expect cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. Metro Manila and the rest of the country will have partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. Meanwhile, the State Weather Bureau reported that the country may experience 16 to 19 tropical cyclones this year, with 6 to 13 expected to form between March and August. The total for the year, however, is expected to be below average. Now we're going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We will be back with more stories after the break. This is Morning Matters on One News. Welcome back to Morning Matters. I'm Pauline Verzosa. And now let's talk about some pressing issues with political pundit, Mr. Ronald Llamas. Good morning, Sir Ronald, and welcome to Morning Matters.
Good morning, Pauline. Long time no see.
Ito sir, mainit na balita, 'di ba, tungkol sa arrest warrant ng ICC. Sir, let's clarify some things. I mean, over the weekend, you have Malacanang saying that they heard about an arrest warrant, pero ang DOJ, ang PNP, sinasabi wala pa naman silang natatanggap na notice. I mean, what are you hearing on the ground, Sir Ronald?
Mukhang meron namang strong evidence na nagpadala na yung ICC ng kanilang notice, yung kanilang international warrant sa Interpol at hinihintay na lang yung official red notice ng Interpol para ma-post nila ito. May ganong klaseng strong source na nagsasabi. Pero until ito ay officially i-post ng Interpol, ito ay nasa level pa rin ng conjecture at saka ng marites, Pauline, no? Pero mismo kasi yung Malacanang ay inaamin na meron silang narinig na balita na ito nga ay nakaabot na sa Interpol. At mismo si ex-President Duterte sa speech niya sa Hong Kong ay partly inaamin niya na meron din siyang nakuhang ganitong balita na posible isa sa dahilan kung bakit siya pumunta ng Hong Kong. So, pero again, until this becomes official, ito ay chismis pa lang.
Well, before we get to why the President is in Hong Kong, ito Sir Ronald, posible po ba daw na summons lang ang i-issue at hindi pa arrest warrant dahil hindi pa naman daw na-terminate yung investigation dito sa Pilipinas? Or can the ICC already issue an arrest warrant even while the investigation is still ongoing?
Well, yung investigation sa Pilipinas, hindi ko alam yon dahil hindi ko alam kung nasimula na. Ang alam ko lang ay last year, nagsabi yung DOJ na posibleng kasuhan ng crimes against humanity si ex-President Digong dito sa ating mga korte. Pero wala pa naman yun kaya wala pa silang ite-terminate. Ang pwedeng na-terminate na o patapos na ay yung preliminary investigation ng ICC. Sa preliminary investigation, lumalabas yung international warrant. No? Bago ng preliminary investigation ay yung tinatawag na preliminary examination. Tapos na yun. No? Ang level ngayon ay preliminary investigation before the trial. At mukhang yun ay tapos na o patapos na. Kaya lumalabas itong chismis ng international warrant.
Pero Sir Ronald, ito lumabas sa balita kagabi, Hong Kong Police bantay sarado daw sa tinutuluyan na hotel ni ex-President Rodrigo Duterte nga dyan sa Hong Kong. I mean, what do you make of that? You already have Hong Kong Police outside his hotel. So, what does that say?
Baka mas yung Hong Kong Police ay pinoprotektahan si Digong para sa arrest dahil yung Hong Kong ay isang autonomous region sa ilalim ng China. At malinaw naman, nung presidente pa siya at saka nung after siya maging presidente, na very close siya sa China. 2 years ago nga, di ba, pumunta siya sa China at nag-usap sila ni Xi Jinping for more than 2 hours. Mismo yung mga heads of state ay siguro mga 15-20 minutes lang kinakausap ni Xi Jinping. Si Digong ay ex-president na pero kinausap siya for 2 hours. Ibig sabihin ay medyo malapit si Digong kay President Xi Jinping ng China. Kaya duda ako na yung nagagwardya sa kanya sa hotel niya sa Hong Kong ay nandun para hulihin o hindi makatakas si ex-President Digong. Tingin ko nandun sila para protektahan si Digong.
But sir, what do you make of the entourage naman that accompany the president to Hong Kong? Sinasabi nila merong at least 10 bodyguards, kasama niya ang kanyang legal team. Nandyan po si Medialdea, former Medialdea, si Sal Panelo nandyan. Talk about the kind of entourage that accompany the president at yung pakay nga daw nila doon is parang Thanksgiving meet and greet with the OFWs. I mean, has the president been doing this lately or how out of the blue is it?
Medyo out of the blue. Kung maalala mo, Pauline, nung dumalo siya sa Quadcom hearing last year, ang sabi pa ni Digong ay wala siyang pamasahe para bumiyahe from Davao to Manila. Ngayon, isang entourage yung kanyang kasama. So meron na siyang pamasahe. No? Ikalawa, medyo revealing na kasama niya yung dating intelligence chief niya, dating head ng NICA, si General Monteagudo. No? Si General Monteagudo, ang head ng intelligence ng presidente pa si Digong. At siya ang nakikipag-relate sa other intelligence agencies katulad ng intelligence agency ng China. Hindi ako magugulat na siya yung meron siyang source sa China tungkol dito sa chismis na meron ng international warrant. Sa akin, yun ang medyo revealing. Yung kasama niya si General Monteagudo.
Pero sir, hindi ba pwedeng pangangampanya lang po ito for election campaigning?
Posible yung Pauline. Ang alam ko, yung return flight niya today ng 3 p.m. Pero
Pabalik po.
duda ako na babalik siya ngayong hapon. No? At mas naniniwala ako doon sa kanyang sinabi na baka magstay siya sa Hong Kong for 1 month. Yung 1 month na yan ay oobserbahan nila ano yung mangyayari dito kung sakaling meron ng international warrant. Tingin ko yung 1 month na yan gagamitin nila para yung kanyang mga abogado ay mag-file ng TRO sa Supreme Court para siya ay dakpin ng ICC para pigilan yan. No? So tingin ko mas seryoso yung kanyang sinabi na 1 month muna siya para maghanap ng legal remedies yung kanyang mga abogado dito sa possible international warrant at possible red notice ng Interpol. No? At kung yan ay hindi nila magagawan ng legal remedy dahil ang sabi kasi ng Supreme Court noong December 2021 sa kanilang opinion na ang ICC ay may jurisdiction sa Pilipinas kahit umalis na tayo. So, I doubt kung babaguhin o kakainin ng Supreme Court yung kanilang unanimous opinion tungkol dito sa jurisdiction ng ICC kay ex-President Digong. Kaya malamang ay matalo sila sa kanilang ifa-file sa Supreme Court at baka lumampas pa ng 1 buwan ang pagstay ni Digong sa Hong Kong, kung sakali.
Kung sakali, I mean, it's all predicated on that also, Sir Ronald. And ito nga, hindi pa naman nga na-issue yung arrest warrant. Pero the question is also, Sir Ronald, can the ex-president, can former President Duterte seek political asylum with China?
Of course, so pwedeng-pwede dahil napakalapit ni President Duterte, ex-President Duterte, kay Chinese President Xi Jinping, the all-powerful President of China. Kaya pwedeng-pwede siyang mag-seek ng asylum. Baka sakaling magkita pa sila ron ni Harry Roque. Baka sakali lang.
Pero so sir, if he does seek political asylum with China, can the Philippine government, through diplomatic relations, request for China to surrender, in this case, the respondent of the warrant, which is the former president?
Tingin ko pwede dahil meron naman tayong diplomatic relations sa China. Hindi pa naman tayo nakikipaggera sa China. Hindi ko sure kung meron tayong extradition treaty. Pero karamihan ng mga bansa kasi meron tayong extradition treaty katulad ng Europe, no? Except I think Portugal. Kaya tingin ko ay pwede namang mag-request. Whether i-honor ng China yung ating request, I doubt it. Tingin ko poprotektahan nila si ex-President Digong. Pero ang mangyayari dyan, kung pupunta tayo sa ganyang direksyon, ay maipipinta talaga si ex-President Digong na pro-China or tuta ng China dahil dun siya magtatago. Kung mangyayari yan. So yung matagal lang sinasabi ng kanilang mga political opponents ay magiging totoo. no? At kasama niyan ay yung crimes against humanity kung lalabas nga talaga yung international warrant. So hindi lang si Digong ang tatamaan yan, kung hindi yung kanyang mga kaalyado at yung kanyang pamilya.
Well, Sir Ronald, ito, pahuling tanong na lang po. Will you have the Malacanang saying that if the Interpol seeks their assistance, they will oblige, right? And they're prepared for any eventuality. What do you make of that, sir? And gaano po ba magiging challenging ang pag-issue ng arrest warrant? Because as we know, itong International Criminal Court or ICC, wala naman talagang machinery to carry out or to issue itong mga arrest warrant. Diba? Wala naman silang mga sheriff and they rely on Interpol. So, how do you think the government will be cooperating in that aspect?
Well, more than a year na nilang sinasabi yan. Sinofe na nila o binago na nila yung kanilang initial position noong early 2023 na sabi mismo ni DOJ Secretary Remulla na kung papasok ang ICC ay i-escorta niya palabas ng bansa. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya papapasukin. May resolution nga ang Congress at saka Senate to protect ex-President Digong. Pero since then, early 2023 hanggang a few days ago, ay nagbago na yung posisyon na yan. Ang sabi ng gobyerno, wala silang choice kung magre-request ang ICC sa Interpol to implement an international warrant. Ang mag-i-implement niyan ay yung miyembro ng Interpol, yung ating Philippine National Police. Kaya yung threat ni Digong last year, na kung isa-serve yung warrant sa kanya sa Davao, na imamassacre niya yung magsa-serve ng warrant, well, ang imamassacre niya ay yung ating sariling Philippine National Police, no? Yun yung kanyang bravado last year. No? So, ganun ang mangyayari. Kaya kahit dinedelay ng Philippine National Police na meron silang minomobilize o hinahanda para sakaling hulihin si ex-President Digong, mukhang hindi siya completely true. Dahil sila ang mag-i-implement nung international warrant dahil sila ang miyembro ng Interpol na hihingian ng ICC ng tulong para i-implement yung international warrant.
Well, aabangan po natin yan, Sir Ronald. No? But for now, thank you very much for sharing your insights here on Morning Matters. That was political pundit Ronald Llamas.
Salamat din, Pauline. Ilabas mo na yung popcorn mo dahil ito ay tatalunin pa yung Game of Thrones at saka House of Cards. Marami pa itong kabanata na susunod.
Marami pang kabanate. But thank you very much, Sir Ronald, for your time. All right, now don't go away. We still have more matters to discuss after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. I'm Pauline Verzosa. And now we are joined by Bayan Muna First Nominee Attorney Neri Colmenares. Hi, Attorney. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Hi, Pauline. Good morning sa viewers ninyo.
Yes, attorney, well, we heard you earlier and what you said last night on the big story, right? You don't believe na magsusurrender itong si former President Rodrigo Duterte sa International Criminal Court. But attorney, let's first ask, no, ang ICC po ba may jurisdiction pa rin sa Pilipinas? Kahit na nag-withdraw na po tayo noong 2019, there are people saying na merong continuing jurisdiction under Article 127 of the Rome Statute. Tell us more about that, attorney.
Correct, Pauline. Article 127 of the Rome Statute, nilagay yan na parang sinasabi doon na pag mag-withdraw kayo, hindi yan mag-affects doon sa kaso na nasimulan na before the withdrawal. So the complaints have been filed in 2017 by Attorney Jude Sabio. At yung sa amin naman, second complaint na file namin in 2018 representing families ng victims. So pasok yun sa Article 127. So kahit na wala nang jurisdiction ng ICC sa crimes committed after the withdrawal, may jurisdiction ng ICC sa crimes committed before the withdrawal. So isinasabi doon na dapat mag-cooperate ang Pilipinas under that article. Kaya yan nilagay, Pauline, kasi pag wala yan, ang gagawin lang ng mga kung sinong akusado, di magwi-withdraw sila sa ICC tapos wala na yung kaso nila. So, toothless ang ICC. Kaya nilagay yun para ma-ensure na hindi pwedeng lumigtas ang mga presidente at prime minister sa ICC merely because they withdrew from the ICC.
So malinaw po yun, attorney, no? Yung continuing jurisdiction even after a withdrawal. Pero ito po, Attorney Neri, you also serve as a counsel for a lot of the families of victims of the war on drugs, ng mga EJK victims, no? How big of a win is this, or how big of a development is this looming or possible issuance of a arrest warrant on the former president? And para sa inyo po ba, long overdue na po ito?
Well, long overdue talaga kasi 2018 pa namin na-file at yung mga kaanak, they've been waiting for justice for so long a time. Hindi yan, pinagkait yan sa kanila sa Pilipinas and they have no forum here. Walang kaso naka-file kay President Duterte hinggil doon sa pagpatay ng anak nila, halimbawa, o asawa nila o kamag-anak nila. So basically yun lang hinihintay nila. The trial, Pauline, in the ICC does not mean convicted si President Duterte. It's just a forum for the families to have an opportunity to present their evidence. So that's what they just wanted. Kung if President Duterte will be convicted, well and good sa kanila, but if he's acquitted, wala naman silang magawa. So yun lang naman ang hinihingi dito ng pamilya, just a forum for that. So long overdue yan. And well, malaking development yan, yung pag mag-issue ng warrant of arrest sa ngayon. Kaya natuwa sila doon sa news na may warrant of arrest na and kaya lang hindi na ko-confirm. And hopefully, we hope that the investigation has been concluded. Matagal na kasi yung investigation na yon, na-delay pa yon because the government of President Duterte requested for more than a year na deferral tenga kasi daw they're going to file cases against those involved. Wala namang nangyari kaya tinuloy yung investigation. So hopefully it's over by now and trial will ensue so that President Duterte will be the first Asian leader to be tried in the ICC.
Attorney Neri, let's go back to the evidence. How does the ICC determine if there's already sufficient evidence? Tama po ba they started their investigation, itong ICC po, noong 2021? So, paano nila masasabi na sufficient na po ang evidence para makapag-issue ng arrest warrant? At ano po yung mga official channels na dinaanan muna nitong mga evidence bago tayo umabot sa arrest warrant?
Well, actually, the preliminary examination started in 2017. The preliminary investigation, kakaiba yan sa examination, started in 2021. The evidence presented by the families of the victims, kami nandun una muna, kasi ang element na ipuprove namin sa ICC, we need to prove one, that he committed the acts and he ordered it, etc. So we presented that. Ang admissions niya publicly, yun ang ebidensyang ginamit namin. The Quadcom hearings led to many more evidence on earth, and one of the most devastating evidence in the Quadcom hearings was the testimony of Colonel Regina Garma, when she said not only did President Duterte order the killings, he in fact funded the killings. So that's really, really devastating kasi he used public funds, and only the president can do that, using public funds for the implementation of the war on drugs, which led to the killing of many. So these are, I think the ICC prosecutor has put with him all the files submitted and all the documents submitted in the Quadcom hearings, plus of course the evidence we submitted noon pa when we filed the case sa ICC. It's very strong, very, very strong. And in fact, the admissions of President Duterte were more than enough for that evidence. But the additional testimonies in the Quadcom and the documents submitted also led to the conclusion na only the President can execute such killings from aparito hulo, so to speak, no, nationwide, leading to the death of thousands. In fact, more than 30,000, sabi ng mga human rights groups.
Pero attorney, kamusta naman po ang safety dito nga mga pamilya, mga witnesses during this investigation?
Well, we were very concerned with that kasi there were reports before 2019, 2020 na medyo may mga umaaligid, may madaan. But wala naman kasi walang nangyari kasi they were under the protection of the church kasi ang Rise Up for Life, which is a church organization for EJK victims, ay very active doon sa pagsuporta sa kanila. So we're very happy that the church supported victims of the EJK kasi sabi ko nga, they were asking for justice lang naman. Wala naman silang hiningi. These are very poor people, Pauline. They don't have the capacity to defend themselves. Kaya it was very important that the church gave them support. And I would like to think they provided them the defense from harassment and threats na nangyayari sa maraming nangyari na mga red tagging and so on ng panahon ni President Duterte, and even until now, nangyayari pa rin yun.
Well, attorney, let's talk about this possible issuance nga po ng arrest warrant. What do you see happening here? You have the president, the former president, still in Hong Kong. Nakikita niyo po bang magsistay siya sa Hong Kong, pumunta ng China, mag-seek ng political asylum doon? Or to come home and to seek legal recourse domestically?
Well, he can stay in Hong Kong. Una muna, hindi natin alam ang plano niya. But he can stay in Hong Kong, and the legal recourse here can be done by his lawyers. Hindi naman kailangan nandito siya to file those cases just in case may warrant of arrest. Now, it's China's discretion kung payagan siyang magstay o hindi magstay. Ang aking hinala, kung sakaling mag-asylum siya sa China, it is very logical that China will grant him asylum kasi una muna, utang na loob sa kanya. When he was president, he practically gave away West Philippine Sea to China. And later on, sa 2025 at 2028 lalo na, China is still hoping na manalo ang Duterte sa 2028. Because if Duterte returns to Malacanang, that will make sure that China's aggressive actions in the West Philippine Sea will again be allowed. That's why they're very, very interested in the elections here. And I think if only for that, if only because they may return to Malacanang in 2028, that's why it is to their interest as of now to cuddle President Duterte and at least hold him there until such time as the Duterte's return to Malacanang. Well, that's their hope, and that's my analysis that if we're going to go for what is in the national interest of China, they would prefer to have President Duterte with them, hoping that they will win again in 2028.
Okay, but attorney, ito nga po, no, if the arrest warrant is successfully issued, what are the next steps there in the process of the ICC? Doon sa trial, saan po ba itatry itong kaso ng crimes against humanity on the former president?
Well, ang trial niyan sa ICC talaga sa Hague, no? And that's why President Duterte has to be there in the ICC for that. That's why a warrant of arrest may be issued under Article 58-59 ng Rome Statute kasi to ensure the appearance of the accused sa trial. That's one of the grounds for the release or issuance of a warrant of arrest. So the process here is if he is arrested, of course, implemented yan ng Interpol, but together with the local police and or local government enforcement agencies. And after he is arrested, then there are three ways here. He may be detained in the place of the state of custody, which is the Philippines, or he may be detained in a third country, kung sino man ang pwedeng magtumanggap sa kanya, and he may be detained in The Hague itself. No? So I think a leader with such stature, maybe sa Hague siya ikukulong if he is ever arrested. After that, he can, of course, file a case in here in the Philippines to question the warrant of arrest. Pwedeng gawin niya talaga yan. And allowed yan naman yan sa rules ng ICC. Ang ICC kasi very obsessed kumbaga sa due process rights ng akusado. Bigyan mo ng lahat ng pagkakataon. There is also a procedure sa ICC pagdating na doon, he contests the warrant of arrest. At didesisyonan talaga yan ng ICC whether the warrant was validly issued, at kung sakaling manalo siya doon, di ma-release siya because the warrant is defeated or voided. So, pero kung matalo naman siya, then he stays in prison. In any case, kahit saan man siya makulong, para sa amin sa bayan muna at least, no? That will be the end of the Duterte dynasty. Kasi President Duterte is the leading figure naman sa kanila. The support actually centers on President Duterte, not on his children. It's more to him, and if he is ever arrested and taken out, I think that will practically destroy the system, the ICC jurisdiction, the powers of the Duterte.
But Attorney, right, you have a former President Duterte also running as mayor of Davao City. So kung siya po ba ay naaresto ng ICC, automatically ay disqualified na po siya from running as mayor in the midterm elections?
Any candidate will not be disqualified on the basis of cases or the fact that he or she is in prison. No, that's why Pastor Kibuloy can still run kasi hindi pa siya convicted with finality. So basically, ganun din ang mangyayari sa kanya. He may be allowed to continue to run if ever, kung sino mang kandidato, unless and until convicted with finality doon sa kusgado natin sa Pilipinas.
And Attorney, ay nabanggit nyo nga po, no, balikan ko lang, is sabi nyo ang ICC ay obsessed sa due process at kasama na rin po dyan is the presumption of innocence ng akusado. What do you make of the President's, sabihin nating argument na he did this for a desire or driven by a desire to maintain peace and order in the Philippines? Is that a strong defense, Attorney?
No, it's not a strong defense kasi pag pinayagan mong depensa na yan, magpapatayan na lang tayo sa Pilipinas on good intentions. Pwede patayin mo yung kapitbahay mo, sabihin mo, rapist kasi yan eh. Kaya patayin ko na lang muna kasi tulong ko na lang to sa community. No, mahirap yon. Otherwise, lahat ng buong mundo magpapatayan na lang yan on the basis na tingin ko tama ito. Kung tingin mo may solusyon ka sa isang problema, may mga korte tayo for that eh. Diba? Lawyer naman si President Duterte, he knows that na abogado ka, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yung gusto mo just because you think tama ka. In the first place, paano kung mali ka? Dilibo na pala napatay mo. Which is in fact true kasi hindi naman nagkaroon ng peace and order ang Pilipinas. Hindi naman nawala ang kriminalidad o korupsyon ng panahon niya. In fact, ang droga namamayagpag pa rin. Bilyon-bilyon pa rin na piso ang nako-confiscate sa Pilipinas nung panahon niya and even immediately after. So, he didn't even succeed in that. But even if he succeeded na nagkaroon ng peace and order, then hindi yan license to kill. Just because you have good intentions. Sabi nga nila, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Kasi madali lang naman yan sabihin ng kahit sino man na nag-commit ng krimen, magnakaw ko sa bangko, sabihin mo, para naman ito sa community ko or whatever. Hindi pwede yun. It's not a defense. And those who obeyed such order, which is an illegal order, labag yan sa batas natin ang pagpatay, whatever your intentions. Pag nag-murder ka, murder yan. Ano man ang motibo mo, ano man yung rason kung bakit mo siya pinatay, it's still murder at hindi yan tatanggapin ng korte na allowed yung pagpatay just because ang ganda naman pala ng intention mo. Magulo yan at hindi yan ang lipunan na ayaw natin kalakhan ng mga anak natin. Kasi ibig sabihin yung anak pala natin pwedeng patayin anytime just because somebody thought na pag pinatay siya, makakabuti sa bansa natin. No, that is not how we do it in a civilized society, and I really hope na many Filipinos will also believe na hindi naman dapat ganun. May proseso yan at dapat kung nagkasala ang isang tao, edi respetuhin yung due process rights niya, kasuhan siya at hindi patayin. May korte who will mete out the penalty. Kung ano man yung penalty, nung may death penalty patay, din death yun. Kung hindi, reclusion perpetua, mahabang buhay na pagkakulong. But the President Duterte is not the court. He cannot be the judge, jury, and executioner dito. Kasi hati yan eh. Ang executive is to execute the law. The courts, of course, are to decide and interpret the law. So, hindi talaga yan tatanggapin ng ICC. Lalo na, lahat naman ng akusado doon nagsasabi na intention namin is good. Ang kinaiba lang ni President Duterte, pag sinabi niya yon na ang intention ko good, parang inamin niya na eh. So, lalong ma-shortcut yung pag-convict sa kanya kasi parang inamin niya, except na sabi niya, may good intention ako. And sa lawyer, if he still remembers his law, hindi yan, kumbaga, extenuating circumstance o isang circumstance na ma-exempt siya from prosecution and prison. So yeah, I don't think he will use it even. Pagdating niya na sa ICC, I think he will change his argument. Pang-political propaganda lang yung sinasabi niya para sa kabutihan, pero hindi niya gagamitin yan sa legal. Definitely.
Well, Attorney, mabilisan lang po, will you be playing a role in the trial as a counsel ng families of these EJK victims?
Well, we really hope that the ICC will recognize the family of the victims at ang mga abogado nito, no, to give us also an opportunity to present the side of the victims. Of course, under the rules, prosecutor talaga mag-handle niyan, but we still hope na bigyan naman ng opportunity ang pamilya ng biktima. Kung hindi man kami ng mga abogado, at least yung pamilya ng mga biktima para makapag-appear din doon sa ICC at makapag-testify.
Well, thank you very much for all your insights and for joining us here on Morning Matters this Tuesday morning. That was Bayan Muna First Nominee, Attorney Neri Colmenares. Maraming salamat, sir.
Maraming salamat. Thank you.
All right, and that's today's episode of Morning Matters. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News, all sides, all the time.